Welcome to Vintage Gaming Memories. Shall we play a game?
It's the Great Space Coaster. Get on board.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. So let me just say this up front. Some of you might be wondering why am I even showcasing the item I have in this box? Because first of all, it's not a game and it's really more of a toy that you just watch or look at, but I believe it's vintage just based on the images for the listing, and I wasn't able to find any more details about it online, so maybe one of you can. Well, let's get this opened up so you can see what I'm talking about. All right, well, here it is. This is Space Shuttle. That's all I can tell you. It's Space Shuttle, and it was made in Thailand for ages over 3. So I did mention I bought this online, and the person I bought it from, that seller, was the same one that I purchased the Panasonic TR005 Orbital TV, which I just did a video on it a few weeks ago. So thanks, Bruce, for hooking me up with this one. And for those watching this video, you'd be surprised at what I paid for this. I'll hold off on that information until the end so that you can see exactly what I got with this, and then you can let me know if that was a good deal or not. Alright, so here's why I was thinking this might be interesting to make a video on it. We have a lot of space talk and videos going around the internet, whether it's that 3i Atlas interstellar object that enter our solar system, or just a continuous talk about UAPs. So why not add a little bit of a space video to the channel? I mean, yeah, I do have some space games already, but this was looking pretty cool just because I've never seen this before, and maybe there's a reason why. Hopefully this is pre-1988, and we'll look at the box and everything else to see if we can figure that out. All right, well, we already looked at the front. As I mentioned, it does say made in Thailand for ages over 3. And it does seem like the image you see on here is something for like a baby's room or a toddler to look at so he or she can fall asleep. Hopefully that's not what this is. The sides, we can tell that it does take a battery, one C-size battery, not included. Really good condition box. Can't make out that price tag, but that's all right. All right, well, that's about it for the box itself. Let's open it up and see what's inside. And by the way, I do know there's a bonus thing in here that the seller included, which is pretty cool, and I see it right here. We'll get that out of the way. It's a NASA Space Shuttle pen. Pretty cool. Not related to the box itself, has nothing to do with it. He just threw that in. So we'll take a look at that in a second, but let's get everything out of here first and see what's included. So these are the little space shuttles that'll be moving around, I guess. And that's pretty much it for what's inside the box. So we have a track, and we have the actual main part of the toy. Battery compartment from the pictures online look clean, and it sure does look clean. Just needs to be dusted off a little bit, which I'll do, but I'm just really anxious to see how this thing works. So I'm not even going to bother cleaning this first, which I normally do with everything I get. I'll clean it, then turn it on, but I want to turn this thing on and see what I'm really looking at. So we'll hook up this track, which should be pretty easy to do. I can look at the image on the box, but I think I can figure this out. All right, that's pretty much it. I can see here on the bottom where the plastic that holds this track in place, the red piece, it's starting to get stressed out. You can see it there, it's changing colors. So hopefully it doesn't break off. The bottom one doesn't look too bad. So anyways, everything's connected. Let's get these little toys out. Let's get a C-size battery ready to go. Check this out, little wheels on the bottom. Pretty cool. So I have my battery ready to go. There's an on-off switch right above the battery compartment. All right, got the battery in, and still no dates shown anywhere on here that I can tell, unfortunately. What I'll probably do here is let me adjust that camera so you can get a straight-on view of this instead of a bird's eye view. So give me 1 second. All right, check this out. I think this is a great view for the camera. You have a straight-on view of this. You can see the boxes behind it. Looks pretty focused to me. Now, I have these two space shuttles that I showed you earlier with the little rollers on the bottom. Obviously, they're going to go on this track, and looks like they're going to slide down with gravity. But let's just turn this thing on and see what it does. I'm not sure if there's any lights on this, which I don't see any indication of lights. Let's see what that C-size battery does for this thing. So let me just turn this on. Okay, so that is the astronaut kicking away, it looks like, in space. Pretty cool looking backdrop of the planets. You can see the space shuttle down below. And I guess we can put this on the track and see what happens. Oh, that was pretty cool. All right, so obviously it's getting lifted up from the back there with a magnet. And it's got like a circular motion. It picks it up. It flips over this little star and goes back on the track again. Let's put another one on there and see what happens. I wonder if that's probably because the track is a little bit dusty. It probably didn't slide down all the way to the bottom and needs a little bit of a help. But this thing works great. It looks cool. It's something I've never seen before. Definitely never seen this as a kid. I don't know if this really is a toddler or baby room item. It's loud. You're not going to sleep through this. Let me turn this off. I mean, that's pretty loud, that motor. What I'm saying is that I don't really think this is a toy that's interactive with a child or even a baby because, one, it's very fragile. I mean, this track will break if you just get too aggressive with it. The pieces are pretty small. You might swallow it. It's loud. It's not something you're going to run while you sleep or hope to have the baby or kid sleep to. There's just an on and off switch. There's really not another option for it to time out or shut off by itself after so many minutes. It's just a really unique item. So hopefully someone watching this has more information about this, whether the year or the purpose of it. I'm kind of intrigued about it more now. And what I'm going to do first, since I didn't do it initially, is when I didn't clean this up, I'm going to clean this thing up, polish the track a little bit. And yes, I could polish this plastic to make it a little bit smoother. So maybe this space shuttle that comes down the slide here or down the track won't get stuck at the bottom there. We'll give it one more go, and then hopefully we'll get some comments about this particular toy and get more details about it. So I'll be right back. All right, we are all cleaned up and we are also polished. Polished with my favorite product, one of the Novus line of products, Novus 1 in particular. And like I've always said before, this is like the Armor All for plastics, but it never leaves any residue, so it's even better. And I was thinking, as I was talking about it earlier, about this ramp, how it kind of got hung up at the bottom here. So I was thinking at first maybe using something like a carbon graphite lubricant to minimize the friction that comes down here. And it kind of reminded me of what I used for my son's boxcar derby wheels. But really, how could I forget? Novus 1, this thing really does make it smooth. I can feel it when I was buffing it, and I'm sure this is going to be perfect. Now, let me give you a close-up look of how it's cleaned up and polished. So you can see the shine from the sticker even. Now, did I spray Novus on that sticker? No, I did buff it. Put a little bit of it because I don't want it to saturate the sticker, but it just made it nice and shiny. Of course, all the plastics were polished. Not much to see, right? The main thing was really the track. And the little shuttles. Those wheels are nice and shiny. And they should glide really good on that track. Well, now that we know that this works and it's all cleaned up, I hate to say it, but I have to do it. We got to see what's on the inside. All right, let me clear out some room here before we open this up. All right, I am going to flip it over because I think most of the stuff is going to be on the back side. So carefully remove the top. All right. Well, not much to the back of the front. That makes any sense. Not much to the back of the front. Yeah. Anyways, there's a little piece of white plastic sticking out there. Looks like that's the movement for the astronaut. All right. And that's all there is to the back of that. And all the magic happens right here. So we have this little spinning wheel here with on each end, looks like a magnet. It spins counterclockwise because it picks up the shuttle from here on the bottom of the ramp, brings it up. It hits the shooting star, it flips over, goes down the track, and repeat. So that's how this works. You can see the magnets on each end. A little X on it too, I guess, to tell you which side, because obviously would be one side attracts, the other side repels, right? That side tracks. I guess this must be right against the back of it so it doesn't fall out. And I guess the other side, yeah, the other side will repel. So you definitely want it to have it in the right way. And then the motor and the gears, you can see the gears right there. So let's put a battery in here and let's just see how this thing spins. But I'll take the magnets out because they're going to fall out anyways. All right, let's see. This is off. Okay, this is how it goes. Pretty cool concept. Actually, it's pretty easy to remove this because there's little gaps on this wheel here, little circular holes, I guess. If it's lined up perfectly, I can get to the screws to remove it. And we could probably then see what's underneath. Let's take a look. Why not? We line it up. So those two screws removes it from the back. The two posts there, and you could see access to the bottom. There's the motor. There's like a lot of oil already. Let me clean this up a bit here. All right. Looks like it's nice and clean now. There's no oil residue anywhere. And the backside looks pretty good too. I have the battery still in there, so let's just spin this around a few times. I'll hold it just so I don't hit the gears or the spinning mechanism on top. All right, let's see if this works still. You can hear that motor run. You can see it. What's cool about this is if any of these gears were grinding up or needing to be replaced because the teeth were damaged, I can definitely easily replace it. I have a whole bunch of plastic gears that I purchased on Amazon for this purpose, for other games as well. And motor as well. I can even replace that if this was to go bad. I think everything looks pretty good on this. I'm not going to oil it. I mean, I could shoot some oil in there, but I mean, there was plenty of oil leaking out, so I'm sure it's fine. Let's just put this all back together again, and let's give it a run. All right, I have the 2 screws put back in, and let's turn this on. It spins freely. Probably should have mentioned that these little jaggedy parts in the center here, that's how the astronaut moves, because that little white plastic stick coming out, that part will hit each one of these as it spins, which will cause this to move. So that's how that works. Okay, time to put the 4 other screws in and then hook that ramp up. All right, let's not forget about this pen, which also came with this auction, and actually wasn't what I was bidding on. It was really that Space Shuttle toy. So not to get overshadowed by the toy, the seller was very kind enough to include this in the auction, and it is a pretty cool looking pen because, of course, it's got a Space Shuttle in the back. And I say it's the back because there's the hole for your ballpoint to come through. Get a closer view of this. It's pretty neat. Now, I didn't see any markings on here other than, let's see if I can find it. It's so small print. Right there. Underneath one of the tanks. It says Taiwan. So other than that, I have no other idea who manufactured this pen. But that's okay. So how does this pen work? Well, we know the opening is there. And all you have to do is push the shuttle towards that direction, and you'll hear a click. Release. There you go. Do it again to put it back inside so it doesn't dry out. Speaking about drying out, let's see if this works. I did not test this yet, so we'll try it right now. I'm sure it's not going to work, but yeah, why would it? All right, well, to get inside the pen, I guess you just pull the cap off. Comes off pretty easily, and there is the pen. And then there's the inside of the cap. Of course, it goes right in there, and then it push pressure down. Spring action. Pretty simple. Pretty cool piece of memorabilia, I guess, for the Space Shuttle. And I'm not really big into collecting space items or NASA related things, but I definitely do appreciate having this included as a bonus in the auction. And speaking of the auction, I mentioned in the beginning, you'd be pretty surprised at what I paid for this. That's the pen and that Space Shuttle that we looked at. Total price, $5. Not bad, right? Pretty cool deal. Now, that doesn't include shipping, but $5 for the actual item itself, that was a pretty cool deal. All right, we're back to this familiar view, and everything's been put back together. Not that there was a lot to put back together. I mean, I did put the ramp back on. Other than that, there was really just 4 screws that connected the front to the back of this plastic case. There was the 2 screws that you saw that were inside that held down the motor and the gears to the back side of the plastic. And that's about it. But I'm glad that I did open this up because it does serve a few purposes. One, got to see exactly how this mechanism works inside, which kind of figured it out. It was a magnet spinning around that would hook to the back or the side of these little space shuttles and then, hit the shooting star and flip over. So it's good to see exactly how it works. Another reason is that you can clean it more thoroughly, which it really didn't need to be cleaned up. It was pretty clean in the inside as it is. Another good reason is that I wanted to see maybe there were some markings inside to help identify who the manufacturer is of this and maybe what year or era this came out of, but I wasn't able to locate anything in there. And then I guess also to see exactly the gears and the motor. I wanted to see exactly what type of gears we were looking at, and it was just the basic plastic gears. Nothing really too fancy. I have plenty of those, so if I ever needed to replace that, we would be fine. As you can see, I have plenty of these gears, so I would be able to fix it if any of the teeth were broken or something cracked, whatever it might be. It doesn't hurt as long as you are careful when you open up these little devices and make sure that you know how to put it back together again correctly, and don't over tighten it, because something that could be very old will be very fragile, and it's plastic we're talking about. So you don't really need to put in 20 pounds of torque onto the screws. Just tighten it nice enough so that it's not moving around. With all that said, I think we're ready to go ahead and test this out. Let's turn this on again and make sure it does still move and make noise. And there goes that astronaut. All right, let's go ahead and put a space shuttle on the ramp. I don't know about you, but I think it looks like it goes pretty quick down that ramp compared to the first time. All right, let's put another one now. It looks great. It looks like there's no issues at all. There's nothing that's holding it up. It just flies down the bottom there and it's ready to be picked up. Pretty cool. I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I'll put it with my other vintage games and I guess toys. I don't know. But I would really love to see if anyone could find out before I do as to who made this, manufacturer name, what time frame it came out, and what's the purpose other than to look at it. I mean, is this something for, you know, I mean, it does say for ages over 3, but what purpose would you have this? Would you really just put this in a kid's room and hope they don't break it? I don't know. Be sure to comment down below, be sure to like, and be sure to subscribe. That's about it for this video. I appreciate you watching it, and until next time, remember, keep your gaming passion from the past alive by living it today. Take care, everyone.
It's the Great Space Coaster. Get on board on the Great Space Coaster. We'll explore a comet ride of fantasy to a place where dreams fly fast and free.